Welcome back, guys. I hope you had a great holiday. Today, I want to talk about how I lit this scene. Alright, so for this scene, my motivation was trying to do an interior nighttime look like a Netflix show. I did want to try a new technique of bounce and diffuse and basically attempt to get a softer wrap. Normally for this type of shot, we might go for a large softbox source on a point light, but I wanted to try something different and see if there was other ways to create a similar shot. Alright guys, to start off with, I want to go over the gear that I used to light this scene. Obviously you could use different gear in order to get a similar look, but this is what I used on this very specific shoot. I used a nanlite 300 bicolor Mark II, so it does have green and magenta adjustment, which is super useful and you'll see why. A nanlite 60B Mark II, which is also bicolor. A nanlite 60C, which is an RGB light that is 60 watts. I also used a nanlite 6C Mark II, which is a 1-foot version of the Pavo tubes, battery operated and also RGB. And then lastly, again, I used a aputure B7C bulb as a practical light. In addition, I also used my red KOMODO X paired with Meike PL lenses that are full frame. They come in super handy and look really great. And lastly, we used a haze machine to give the shot a little bit of atmosphere. That said, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown. As you can see from this wide shot, it has many of the lights that we used in the frame, so it'd be a good time to break down exactly what each one was doing. So to start off with, all the way in the back, we have the nanlite 60C that is creating these moonlight effects. It's really just the nanlite 60C with the standard reflector. We went to HSI mode and kind of toned the hue exactly where we want it. Made it super easy to have an app control and be able to take a look inside and tune exactly what color we wanted that moonlight. Moving forward, we have the aputure B7C in here. So that's going to be our motivated practical that we're going to use to kind of motivate this key light form. We also have the nanlite 6C Mark II up here. I use a little bit of gaff tape to kind of just skirt off the sides here to try to narrow that down. Normally you'd have like a grid for the tube to kind of just highlight exactly where you want it, but the gaff tape thing kind of works every so often. We kind of just taped a little sliver to edge him out a little bit using a little bit of a hair light and kind of again motivating off of that practical bulb in the back. In addition, you'll see here, this is what we had for our key, which is a pseudo book light, if you will. This is where we had our nanlite 60B Mark II through a spotlight mount that was being bounced directly into this 4x4 foam core. This is on a Quacker clamp here on a small stand and bounced through a 5-in-1 internal diffusion. So that is basically a bounce and a diffusion, which makes your light super soft and adds a lot of wrap. And that's what we basically use to kind of provide this very, very soft light as a key. Again, 3200 Kelvin, just like the lamp, which is the motivating factor here for our key light. And then you can see here we have our port keys BM7DS, which has a dual display and basically can show you what it looks like when it's in horizontal as well as vertical mode. Comes in super handy for when you're cropping in to a 9x16 shot out of a wide or horizontal frame. And here's the final shot. Now looking at it, you can tell there's a mixture of both the tungsten look light as well as our other key, which was our 300B Mark II, that was kind of put in a position to look like a television. So it was kind of laid on a table, and we put that through a softbox and a grid on the TV mode. What made this super cool is that the 300B Mark II not only has green magenta tint adjustment, but the TV mode lets you customize the intensity range as well as the CCT color range and the frequency at which the scenes are going to change, which made it very, very convincing as opposed to daylight only lights. So I was really impressed with how that TV mode worked out, and I think by looking at it you'd agree that it looks pretty convincing if I didn't tell you that was a light. Again, in the background, as you can see here, you have this pattern here on the wall as well as this one from the nanlite 60C, creating that moonlight effect. So again, that's just a standard reflector. We had that in HSI mode, and we're able to kind of just fine tune where we wanted that blue hue at. And here you have the B7C, which casted this pattern on the wall, which I thought was interesting to kind of break up the flat white wall pattern. I don't have too much color on the walls, unfortunately. Also, our friend the gaff tape, which is also included here as part of every shoot. We happen to leave it on there so you can see it. And then lastly, obviously our key light here. You can see there's a nice soft wrap around on his face. That's coming again from both the bounce and the diffusion. So that is creating a very, very good look. However, you have to contend with the fact that the bigger the source, which is what you want when you're trying to get a soft light, the more spill you'll get. So as you can see all around here, we have spill on this side, and it actually spilled deeper into this side. However, we were able to bring a negative right here, which kind of kept that spill at bay. There is another white wall on the opposite side of the shot, which was bouncing a ton of light back, and there's a lot of return all over the room, which really killed our contrast ratios. So the negative truly helped to kind of bring that contrast back in to the talent's face. And then lastly, I have a bonus shot that took some minor tweaking, which is this fake film noir shot. So for this shot, all I ended up doing was basically taking the key light from behind, brought it up around the front, removed the bounce card, and then I went ahead and used the blade cutters on the spotlight mount to shape the light exactly to this little strip, and basically had talent lean into it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. That's the end of our breakdown. If you enjoy this type of content, definitely let me know down below in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, all of that kind of gives me an idea of what kind of content I should be making on YouTube. I appreciate everyone, and this is Rob with Animus Visual signing out.